everyone. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're all doing wonderfully and having a great day. I am here with Mr. Niklaus, Thomas Niklaus, and he has had me thinking because of the way that he looks. I'll explain a little bit more what I mean. He has me thinking about people, about myself and stuff. So I think he's a really good example of what I've been thinking about lately. It's come up with a lot of friends and family members, things that are going on in their lives. So whenever I find things tend to be relevant to a bunch of us all at the same time. I don't know if that's the collective consciousness or what that is, but anyhow, so this beautiful boy, his given name was Thomas from his artist, and I kept that and added Niklaus. Right there is a little bit of a contrast. Thomas is a very, clean and traditional name, and Niklaus obviously has more of a German ring to it, but also Niklaus is the immortal hybrid vampire werewolf from the originals, Klaus or Niklaus or Nick, they call him. And it also means victory for the people, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, so what I'm seeing right now when I look at him is he looks sweet and innocent and soft, a little bit of tears in his eyes. And he looks kind of delicate and a little bit chubby. But if I change angles with him, we start to get the grumpy face a little bit. And if we go head on, we get much harder features, a wider face. He's got the jowls. Now his eyes look more wide set than usual. Here he's looking a little bit inquisitive. Gets a little crazy-eyed sometimes at that angle. So I see a very different baby with him a lot, depending on the way that he's positioned, how he's sitting, how he's laying, or where I'm standing. And with pictures with this baby, I can take a lot of different pictures to actually portray what I'm seeing because of the angles of his face. So he needs to be washed up a little bit. Because of the angles of his face, because of the hard lines in his features, and the way the camera, of course, will filter out light. It picks things up a little differently than our eye would. But to me, he's got a lot of different looks. And so if you were to just see one picture of him, you would get one particular impression of this doll, and you might miss out on a lot of the other ones. Especially if you saw, a picture where he looked grumpy with jowls and very wide-set eyes, you might miss out on the very soft, sweet, innocent look that he has as well. He's got his hat he's holding today. So switching on to real people, I'll use a personal example. So I'm in an awesome relationship with an awesome person who challenges me every single day. And one of the things that happens when you're with somebody that is really, some people call them twin souls, but somebody who challenges you and is a match for you, is that a lot of times it brings up your own crap. And you start to, and because we're mirrors for each other, it might look like their crap. and if you don't wish to do the work, sometimes you just say, well, okay, that person has poor coping skills and a bad temper, and he's a jerk, or whatever worse words you'd like to use, and walk away. And it's certainly that you might get a lot of that advice from the people around you who don't know the depth. But that person is not. So he's not just a jerk with poor coping skills or triggers, things that trigger him. He's also very open-hearted and innocent in a lot of ways, and seeking love and seeking growth and working hard and introspective and fun and athletic and passionate, makes really great desserts. So if you look at somebody at one angle of who they are, you can't sum them up just by that. And I like to say about myself, because I, in the last, 8 years, made a big shift over time to a very natural lifestyle, a conscious lifestyle, got in touch with my body, which opened up my mind and my clarity. And I've done a lot of spiritual studies, and I've grown a lot that way. And I've become, I guess, kinder, or at least more aware of my thoughts and my words and the way that I treat people. I was always nice, and, we say and. However, I say, just because I don't fly my bitch flag, don't think I don't have it. And the people who meet me now don't necessarily know the full picture of who they are dealing with, or who they may have dealt with years ago, before I started to do a little bit of work on myself. So, sometimes we need to tell people that. Not very often. So I get compliments on my kindness and my thoughtfulness and things like that. And I guess I'm going to blend this with the first installment of Show Your Shitty, which I mentioned several videos ago, because I think it's relevant in having compassion for people who aren't necessarily behaving the way that we understand, or in a way that's received harshly, or that triggers us, or triggers something inside of us that feels poorly, or reminds us of a part of ourselves that we don't like, and it comes through as not liking them. And I guess I would say this is like your tape, the tape that runs underneath subconsciously. So maybe a week and a half ago, I stopped into the Walgreens pharmacy to pick something up. And there was a man at the checkout who really loved his job. I mean, he was very conversational. He was very joking. He was very friendly. He was very engaging. He really, really wanted you to do the survey at the end. He called you by your name, almost like a Mr. Rogers type. And my first conscious thought was, wow, he really loves his job. And as I got out to the car, I realized that underneath it, without realizing it, I was thinking, like, what a dork. I was like, oh my gosh, really? Really? So this is what I would like for people. I would love for people to enjoy what they do, to put their heart into it, to be kind, to be considerate, to see the person in front of them and engage with them. That's what you want. But then unconsciously, subconsciously, there's this little tape where I'm sort of like judging the person, but I didn't even feel that way about him. But subconsciously, the words were running, and the first thought is, oh my gosh, what a jerk am I? But of course, I guess the point isn't to beat yourself up about that, but to become aware and sort of start to rewrite the content of the tape that runs underneath it. I thought, man, that is a perfect Show Your Shitty, and I wasn't even aware of it. And I think that is the biggest key, is this underlying constant stream of thoughts and emotions that are going on beneath the surface of what we want to portray, beneath the surface of what we want to admit or define ourselves by. Underneath, we have the thing that's been ingrained with us. And if you study Eckhart Tolle and any of his work on the ego and the pain body, he defines ego as over-attachment to form. And that begins at an early age. When a baby first, learns the word me, they very quickly learn the word my, mine. And you think about toys. You can think about a pile of toys that the child hasn't picked up in 3 weeks. But if another kid comes over and picks one up, they will throw an absolute fit, mine, and grab it back. Because they've extended their sense of identity onto this other object. So if ego is the over-attachment of form, and you are an infinite being that is beyond form, then if you think about that, inevitably the form is going to pass away and the consciousness continues. or this, or if you don't believe that, I think you can still get something out of this. I'm open to any and all ways of defining the mystery. Then the ego itself, which is critical to us having this human and earthly experience. If I didn't think, here is Niklaus, and if Niklaus was my son, and I didn't recognize that there was, or see, even if it's an illusion, a separation between Niklaus and Niklaus and myself, I couldn't have a conversation with him. I couldn't share experiences with him. I couldn't, all of those things, because there wouldn't be a separate identity. So ego helps to define that individual identity. However, ego also wants to survive at all costs. And if you are perpetually moving beyond form, there's a sort of a quickening of like a move to hold on to that form. So that comes in the way of judgment, that comes in the way of one-upping, that comes in the way of, hey, did you hear such and such? And for that brief moment when the other person says, no, I haven't, the ego feels that they've one-upped somebody. They've got a little something on them. The ego will knock somebody else down. The ego also, may have grown strong to protect a person from trauma and things that happened to them when they were young, and created these barriers and these personalities, these archetypes, the warrior archetype, the sort of the lash out, the best defense is a good offense, kind of an operational thing. Everything is war, to try to protect that soft inside inner child. So I was walking my dog yesterday, another good example, and if you press the traffic light to cross, it will, you wait until the proper part of the light cycle and the walk sign comes up, the little white person crossing the street on the sign. If you don't press it, that doesn't come up. However, you still cross at that same time if nobody's coming. So I was crossing, I didn't press it, I just waited. It was not a heavy traffic time. I live in the suburbs. But I was crossing at the appropriate time, and a caravan pulled up and was getting ready to turn, and I was jogging my dog across the street, certainly not sauntering or taking my time. And I swear, I believe that this person honked their horn at us for being in the street. And I was so offended. For a good 4 houses I'm walking, and of course, gradually realizing what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, basically, it was a huge frustration at me not being able to convince, to let them know that I actually hadn't done something wrong. So like this huge frustration at somebody thinking that I was wrong when, no, they were wrong. And then of course, there's this one part of me that wanted to like flip them off, which of course, like that's certainly not who I walk around trying to be. But it's that offense. Well, that's ego, right? Can't have somebody thinking that I screwed up, or how dare somebody think that they should get in to turn before I walk. Or if you're driving in your car, and so many of us become beasts when we drive in our car, somebody turns in front of us but then doesn't go fast, and you lay on the horn, and how dare you get in my way, when I'm driving down my street, which I own. That's that ego thing. So I think it's that tape that runs underneath that is the shitty that I am showing today. And if you want to be a positive person, and you believe that everything is energy, and the emotion that you feel emits an energy that then draws in magnetically by ways of quantum physics and spiritual matters, a matching vibration, and you think that, and you feel like you're being a positive person, and then some of the old crappy things that happened to you in your life keep coming back to you, and I'm saying you, but I mean me, I mean us. The vibration isn't about the word that you say, it's about the feeling that you embody. So, and if you don't want to be negative, and you think that what might be on that tape that's running underneath may be negative, it may not even be necessary to recognize what's on it, more so than to learn how to replace it. I happen to think that awareness and listening is the first step. I practice natural medicine, but a diagnosis is helpful so that you know how to act. So if you can become, awareness, that's all meditation is awareness. It's consciousness and it's separation from the thought. You are not, you have the thought, but you are not the thought. You see the thought come in, you see the thought go out, but you realize you are the consciousness that is observed, that is aware that you are having the thought. So if you know what it is, that tape that's going on underneath there, then you can start to replace it with other things. And from there, you can see that a lot of people that are really crappy and mean and hurtful or careless or thoughtless or judgmental or whiny or whatever it is that bugs you about other people, maybe they're just at a different place of awareness and there's defenses up for different reasons, or it's something that's subconscious. They don't even realize that they're doing it. My mom is always so conscious of her toenails and her pedicure and how, not going out if she hasn't blow dried her hair and put her makeup on and all that stuff. And then she realized one day, that vanity / insecurity was because the first thing she does when she sees somebody in sandals is she looks at their toes. So she figures everybody else is doing that same thing and judging somebody by how well their feet are kept. But she's really judging herself, and so she feels everybody is doing that to her. This is all subconscious, but you start to become aware of things when you ask the questions. Anyway, I think that's all I got. We'll say bye from the boy. Still loving this one. See, what a very, very, very different look from this sweet, sweet little angel face to more of a, elf, Grinch. I don't know the word I'm looking for. All the many, many, many sweet faces that are a beautiful representation of all of us, because everything is a part of this journey. The happiness and the sorrow, the beautiful and the ugly, the touching and the painful are part of the dualistic nature of the physical laws of this reality. But remember, you are so much more than your body. Okay, guys, I look forward to hearing from you and to seeing all your videos and to talking soon. Bye for now.